The Mediterranean, the cradle of civilization. Home to pasta, olive oil, and that specific shade of blue that makes Instagram influencers lose their minds. It is the vacation spot of the world. Now, imagine we pulled the plug, literally. Imagine if we built a dam so massive it makes the Hoover Dam look like a Lego brick, block the Atlantic Ocean, and turn the Mediterranean Sea into a gigantic, salty parking lot. Welcome back to Crazy Maybe, where today we are asking the question, what if we terraformed Europe by destroying it? This isn't just a sci-fi nightmare. This was a real plan. A genuine, honest-to-God engineering proposal from the 1920s called Atlantropa. One man looked at the map of Europe and Africa and thought, you know what's wrong with this? Too much water. Not enough ... supercontinent. Today we are diving well, falling into the dry basin of the Mediterranean. We're going to look at the physics, the climate collapse, and the geopolitical nightmare of draining the sea. Would it solve the energy crisis? Or would it just turn Italy into a salty frying pan? Let's find out. Let's meet the architect of our doom, Herman Sörgel. In 1928, while everyone else was busy enjoying the Roaring Twenties or preparing for the Great Depression, Sörgel was drawing lines on a map. His idea was simple in concept, but absolutely psychotic in scale. Step 1. Build a dam across the Strait of Gibraltar. Now hold on. The Strait of Gibraltar is 14 kilometers wide and up to 900 meters deep. To dam this, you wouldn't just need concrete. You would need all the concrete. According to modern engineering estimates, a structure this size would require more material than has been used in every construction project in human history combined up to that point. But Sörgel wasn't done. He also wanted a second dam across the Dardanelles to shut out the Black Sea. And because, why not? A third massive dam connecting Sicily to Tunisia, effectively cutting the Mediterranean in two. The goal? To lower the Western Mediterranean by 100 meters and the Eastern Mediterranean by 200 meters. Why? To create hydroelectric power. Sörgel calculated that the water rushing in from the Atlantic through the Gibraltar Dam could generate 50,000 megawatts of electricity. To put that into perspective, that's roughly the output of 50 nuclear power plants. It would have powered all of Europe and Africa. Sörgel called this new supercontinent Eurafrica. He thought this would bring world peace. Right? Yeah, because historically, controlling the world's most vital resource has never led to conflict. But here's where the crazy maybe factor kicks in. Sörgel didn't account for a tiny, insignificant variable known as reality. Let's talk science. Specifically, chemistry. The Mediterranean is salty. If you evaporate the water, the salt doesn't go to space. It stays there. We actually know exactly what would happen because nature already did this pranking experiment about 5.9 million years ago. It's called the Messinian Salinity Crisis. Geologists found that the Mediterranean dried up naturally. And what did it leave behind? A layer of salt up to 3 kilometers thick in some places. So Sörgel's plan to create new land for agriculture was ... optimistic. The new land wouldn't be lush green fields. It would be a toxic white desert of gypsum and halite. Imagine trying to farm potatoes on a block of pure sodium chloride. The only thing you'd be harvesting is high blood pressure. Furthermore, salt dust is a nightmare. Look at the Aral Sea in Central Asia today. The Soviets drained it for cotton irrigation. The result? Toxic dust storms that poisoned the local population, increased cancer rates, and destroyed the climate. Now, scale that up to the size of the entire Mediterranean. Winds would pick up this toxic salt dust and blow it north into Europe. So, congratulations, Herman, you didn't just create new land. You salted the old land. The vineyards of France? Dead. The olive groves of Greece? Dead. Europe wouldn't become a superpower. It would become a jerky factory. But wait, it gets worse. Let's check the climatology report. Water has a high specific heat capacity. It acts like a giant air conditioner for Europe. It absorbs heat in the summer and releases it in the winter. Without the sea, temperatures in southern Europe would skyrocket. We're talking about summertime highs in Milan or Athens reaching 50 degrees Celsius regularly. And then there is the albedo effect. Usually, water absorbs sunlight. White salt reflects it. This sounds good, right? Cooling? No. It messes with atmospheric pressure. Scientific models suggest that removing the sea would likely shift the Gulf Stream in the Atlantic and alter the jet stream. This shift would likely push rain clouds further north. Result? Northern Europe gets flooded, while Southern Europe turns into the Sahara 2.0. Sörgel wanted to merge Africa and Europe. He succeeded. He just turned Europe into Africa's driest desert. Good job, buddy. Now let's look at the human cost. Sörgel promised new land, but this new land would effectively destroy every major city on the coast. Venice, it's no longer the city of canals. It's now the city of mud sitting 200 kilometers away from the sea. Genoa, Marseille, Barcelona, Naples, all the great ports of history. They are now inland mountain towns looking down at a salty abyss. Their economies would collapse overnight. No fishing, no shipping, no tourism, and speaking of shipping ... The Suez Canal works because the Mediterranean and the Red Sea are at roughly the same level. If you drop the Mediterranean by 200 meters, the Suez Canal becomes a waterfall. Global trade? Gone, you just broke the world economy. And finally, a little physics nugget for the nerds in the back. Isostatic rebound. Water is heavy. Like, really heavy. If you remove 200 meters of water from the basin, you're removing billions of tons of weight from the Earth's crust. The tectonic plates would actually rise up. This would likely trigger massive earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, as if Etna and Vesuvius needed any encouragement. So not only is your country a desert, but the ground is also trying to kill you. So why didn't we build it? Well, surprisingly, even the Nazis thought it was too crazy. And these are the guys who looked into occult magic and giant tanks. Sörgel pitched this to everyone. The architects, the Nazis, the Allies after World War II. But then, something magical happened. Nuclear power. Once we figured out we could split the atom to make electricity, we didn't need to drain an entire sea to plug in our toasters. Atlantropa died quietly in the 1950s. Sörgel died in 1952, hit by a car while riding his bicycle. A tragic, small end for a man with such colossal, dangerous dreams. Atlantropa serves as a terrifying reminder of what happens when engineers ignore biology, geology, and sociology. It is the ultimate what-if scenario. A world where you could walk from Sicily to Africa, but you'd probably die of heat stroke, dehydration, or salt poisoning before you got there. So, would you buy a house on the new Atlantropa plains, or do you prefer your ocean ... What? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked this dive into madness, hit that like button so hard it causes an isostatic rebound. And remember, just because you can build a dam doesn't mean you should. Stay crazy.